Hey guys, welcome back. Just got another quick job here for you today. No project at the moment, but I do have some in the pipeline, so stay tuned. Today we're working on a nice retro replica. Yes, this is a 2015 model Kawasaki W800. Brings back a lot of memories. Really nice to ride, very comfortable. And this is a special edition. I think it's called the Black Edition. So let's get it up and have a look at it. It's all cosmetic, the enhancements on this thing, but gives it an overall nice, mean appearance. And I think it's worth the extra for the special edition badge. Black Edition W800. This is a 2015 model, I believe. So this is not an old bike, just made to look that way. So we get her up, strap her down. His Royal Highness doing all the hard work as usual. She goes for a walk. Okay, so let's jack her up and see what we're doing. Today will be... well, let's have a look first. Spoked rims, drum brakes, twin shocks. It's got this really interesting wrinkle cut black paint on those little side covers there. Can't focus, sorry, but it does look nice in real life. Just an interesting little standout feature. There are the dual retro gauges, but they are digital. This is a fuel injected bike, believe it or not. Conventional forks. It's a real throwback. They've done quite well. It's reliable. Anyway, we've got some new boots going on. Some new shockies on the back, some new bouncies in the front, and the customer gave me a happy face bash guard to put on when I'm done, just to wrap it up. So let's get really intimate. Oh, that's nice and close. Split pin out. We're going to get the back wheel out to change the rear tire at first. Axle's a bit stubborn, but we got her in the end. First hiccup so far is you got to take the exhaust off to get that axle out. A little bit annoying, but it is what it is. Might have been just because we like to work on center stands as mechanics, give it some feet and hold it stable. I guess if you would have done this on the floor, it would have jacked it up. As you can see, you get the axle out, but then you've got weight on the bike, so it makes it really, really difficult to get the wheel out. But jack it up, undo the axle nut and get that out of the way. On the other side we've got the old brake drum, the noisy truck drums. Get the torque arm off first so you can move the drum, then you can take off the actuator. Really nice bike to work on, actually. It's, apart from that axle business, it's quite nice to work. Very simple, easy. And of course we've got all the equipment that we need to make it even easier so we don't break our backs. I need a shave, geez, look at that. Get the back wheel out and we'll take it over to the machine, put some new rubber on. We deflate it first so that we can break the bead. Get rid of the drum, we don't need that. So now I'm just popping the bead off the rim. It's morning time, so I've got a little bit of sun coming through the window. It's not too bad. We'll see later what happens. But yeah, this is all standard so far, no issues. It's a nice easy job. Get a bit closer, so brilliant camera work there. And we approach the jaws and tighten it down. Nice, now the machine's got the wheel, we can start stripping. Need some rim protection there. Always be safe, we don't scratch rims here. Get some oh, you've got to undo that nut on the tube. These are tube tires, as you can see they're spoked wheels, so more often than not you need a tube in there. And then the rubber just peels off with some mechanical force. Get the head out of the way so we can just rip the tube out. This one got new tubes, as you'll see in a sec. We're going all Michelin today. This looks like the stock tire, so it's a real old classic feel, bit of a throwback. and that the back tube on these things have a 90-degree valve, which makes it seriously annoying to install, as you'll see later. But that's pretty much it. Let's unwrap the Chrissy presents straight from France, Germany, Spain, China. They're made all over the world, these things. I always like to see where they actually come from, and it's always somewhere different. The head office in France doesn't make hardly any of the tyres. I don't know if they make any. But this is the Michelin Road Classic. It gives it a nice old school feel and look, but it's good rubber. I've got, the price of tyres has skyrocketed these days, but they do make a good product, Michelin and Pirelli. I'm big fans. So we get some lubricant, soak the bead, and then we've got to get the head out of the way again and try to stuff this tube back in, which on any other wheel wouldn't be so bad, but again, 90-degree valve, you've got to hold your tongue right, find the hole, get some leverage, poke it through, and as soon as you start to see the end of it, just slap a nut on so that it doesn't go back inside and you lose it. So it is a bit of a trick, but a little bit of persistence, a little bit of patience, and we get there in the end. Just going to get some optics and get some leverage and just shove it through and hope that it catches. It's a bit annoying, but once you accept your fate, you just got to get it done. I think I almost got, you can just see it there. As soon as you see it, you can slap a nut on it, and that holds it in place, so you can, there you go. So you can feed the rest of the tube in. There's no art to that, you just got to make sure you don't twist it. And one way we make double sure of that is by putting some air in it and inflating it a little bit, just so that it doesn't pinch while you're trying to install the other side of the tyre. Some more Gorilla Snot to help it bead. We don't need the rim protector anymore, so that's gone. And you just feed it on. The machine does the work. Nice. Just make sure the tube is nice and seated and put some air in it. These don't pop like tubeless tyres do, but you do have to make sure that it's beaded all the way around. We're going to make sure Mr. Michelin is poking his head all the way out, so there it goes. It's not quite a pop, it just gets to a point where it's happy and it's fully beaded. Okay, so that's done. Just got to make sure it's balanced. So every wheel's got a heavy spot most of the time. This one wasn't too bad, needed a few adjustments, and it looks to be much better. So once you're happy with it, just tighten up the weights and give her a clean and she's done. That's all we've got to do with the back tyre, so I think we're going to move on to the shocks. Pretty standard shocks, but the customer has installed a rack system here, and that big bracket you can see on the side is for panniers, so this is a proper touring bike. He's very happy with it, and he goes cross country, and I'm sure he has a good time on it, but it's just an extra thing to undo when we're trying to install some shocks. Not a big deal, it's quite a good system, it fits quite nicely, but we do need to remove them to access the mounting bolts on the rear shocks. The rear shocks just held in two places, top and bottom, and quite easy to get off. So there's the old one, here's the new one. Bit more shiny, bit more springy, and it's got an adjuster on the top. So it's a different spring rate, different body length, different shaft length, same eyelets, but you'll see there's a little clicker on the top that makes it much easier to adjust. And then it's just the reverse procedure. Stick it on the top, stick the bolt in the bottom, catch the thread, and away you go. Same on the other side. It's not rocket surgery, and it's quite simple to change shocks. If you've got the bike stable and no weight on the swing arm, you don't even need the back wheel out. It's just easier to manipulate the swing arm when there's no weight on it. And some protective washers on the top mount and the rack can go back on with a bit of gentle manipulation. That's how you secure a shock. You can see the little bump stop in there, little rubber bump, and that's it. Really easy. A few minor complications here that happened off camera, but nothing too crazy. And it's a big performance improvement. Icon makes some really nice cost-effective solutions for suspension. I believe they bought the blueprints off Coney, which you might know is a bit more well-known shock manufacturer, and they just did them cheaper. Called it Icon, and I don't know, someone fact check me on that, hit me up in the comments, not sure, but that's what I was told. Just a really cost-effective solution if you've got a blown shock or something and you need a replacement. They're much cheaper than OEM, and they work really quite nicely. They are a bit of a performance improvement, and they look great, I think. Not sure about the quality on the chroming, but the springs certainly look good, and I haven't had any complaints yet, so yeah, really wise choice. The customer supplied these, it was his choice, and I concur. So well done. Easy to install, look good, work really well. Now I'm faffing around with the rear axle. I've got to hold the exhaust down while I'm trying to manipulate and get it lined up on the other side. You just got to hold your tongue right. You need 3 hands, and eventually it'll go. Alright, so we're putting the axle back together. Might get a nice close-up for you again. You do have to attach the brake drum, so you don't want to mount that torque arm first. I was having a bit of a brain fart, so I'm going to take that off in a minute, because you can't rotate the drum to fit the actuator in. So we'll get rid of that. We'll put in the brake rod from the actuator. There you go. And now we can do up the brake drum. There is a procedure. Sometimes I choose not to follow it. And you just tighten up the axle and away you go. Can we get a nice close-up of the split pin? Let's see. Oh, it's not as close as before, but it's still satisfying. Nice and safe, that nut's not coming off. Brakes all tight, lights working. Now look, isn't it amazing how much the afternoon sun transforms my workshop? And there's a tree just outside the window casting all kinds of shadows. So anyway, we're going to move to the front where it's a bit more light. It's actually kind of annoying working with that sun. It really just gets in your face and makes it really annoying. But we're onto the front now, so we're jacking down the back and we're free. So we've got to do the same that we did on the back to the front. Brakes off, wheel out. She's a bit stubborn, so I get some more persuasion. That's a big breaker bar. Undo the pinch bolt and the axle should just pop out. Nice. Okay, second verse, same as the first. No big mysteries here. It's just this one's a bit easier because it doesn't have a 90-degree valve. It just sticks out straight, so it's a lot easier to stick in and do up. Not much wrong with these tyres. I think it just needed a bit of a freshen up. I think they're at 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And he wanted some better rubber, so he requested the Michelin's. Another good choice. This guy kind of knew what he wanted. I didn't have to sell him anything. He said, "Can you get me this? Can you get me this?" I went, "Yeah, no problem." See the dust fly off. That's why we change tubes, even if they're not punctured. The rust likes to eat things away. Quick adjustment to the rim band, line up the hole, make sure the tyre goes on the right way. I can't remember which way it turns, just double checking. Lubricate and spin her on. Get rid of the head, stuff in the new tube. Recycle the box, happy days. So yeah, the straight ones are a bit easier. You just shove them in and do the nut up, and no mess, no fuss. little bit harder to access when you're trying to fill them up at the servo, but I'm sorry, if you're in America, we call gas stations servos. So that's the reason some manufacturers use right angle tubes. They're easier to inflate, but much more annoying to install. So that's it. Nice rubber going on the bike. It's always nice to put tires going on the bikes. You've got to be careful when they're new, but once they scrub in, you can feel the difference. You go from a flat tire to a round tire, from square to round. The thing actually corners. This one didn't need much balancing, so I just gave it a bit of a clean, get all the lube off. Okay, so now we're going to be changing the front fork springs, and these made a big difference, and you'll see why when I get them out. But first of all, we've got to undo the pinch bolts. Don't know why I shoved that back in, but the cap comes off the fork. That is literally the top of the fork, and there's a little preload spacer that you'll see come out, and that's designed to put some tension on the spring so that it's not unsprung under the weight of the bike and the rider. However, you'll see if I can just lift up the wheel, the springs will pop out and you can grab them. And this is where I spill fork oil on the exhaust and forget to clean them up because I'm trying to take a video. But here we go. You'll see the length of the spring plus the preload spacer is the same as the overall length of the new spring. And the new spring is really quite progressive. You'll see close coils down the bottom and distant coils at the top, or other way around depending on how you look at it. But the overall length is the same, so it's really well designed. And just add a little bit of fork oil that I dropped out. Yeah, the progressive nature of that spring really provides a supple response to smaller bumps and larger bumps at speed. It really makes a big difference. And I can say from the road test, it rode completely differently and really nicely. Like, I felt everything, but it wasn't jarring. It was very responsive and it felt nice. I couldn't fault it. Honestly, new shocks, new fork springs. It felt really nice to ride. Okay, so I think we're in the wrap-up stage. Just got one more thing to do. Which way does this wheel go in? Don't know what I was looking at there. Anyway, axle in, nut on, brakes on, easy. Just make sure it's all straight. Zap it on, spin it, and pump it to center the forks, and then you can do up the axle nut and the pinch bolt on the other side. Yes, I left the sticker on. I don't know why. It was staring at me the whole time. I leave it on throughout this whole video, but I can assure you folks, I took them off before the customer came. I always usually take the sticker off just after I've finished putting the tire on the wheel, and while I'm balancing it, I don't know why I left it on. It wasn't for the video, it was for no reason. I just didn't take them off. I can't remember what I was thinking, but it doesn't really matter. But yes, they do get taken off before the customer comes. Now look how dirty the bike is. I don't judge people by the condition of their bike, but I do like to get them nicer going out than when they came in. So now that it's up in the air and the wheels are free, I can give it a nice clean down so I don't have to break my back when I'm washing it outside. Yes, we do give this bike a wash. It needed it, and I got a new foam cannon, so I wanted to test it out anyway. So we'll get some. Yeah, you can see the oil on the exhaust there. I didn't wash it off before I went for a road test, so she comes back smoking. But we'll check it out later. Anyway, the bash guard gave us some beautiful little brackets to go on the engine mounts. You just tie up those little bolts, and then they gave me some P-clamps to run down the frame for the back. Really simple solution. It's good that there's access, and it will provide some decent protection. Little cutout for the oil filter, looks like a smiley face, so it's a happy bike. It's happy and protected. Very easy to fit. Well, there's a little bit of fiddling around with the brackets there and the P-clamps, but you know, nothing that scared me. So I'm just going to get the center stand off and I think we're done. It was a real pleasure to do this thing. Haven't seen W800 for a while. They used to be really popular. Very underrated bike. They're not that powerful, but they're certainly very comfortable. They did have some reliability issues early on, but Kawasaki took care of that. And yeah, they're a really good bike if you like. Let's have a look. Give me a sec. What does she sound like? Just when I'm trying to go. Now this is usually when Cody comes out and is worried that I'm never coming back. I don't know what his issue is. Separation anxiety, abandonment issues. So that guy that blocked me was actually a customer. Came to check if the camera was actually recording. Yeah, it's a camera. Why would you walk up to it? Anyway, the test ride went really well. The bike rode beautifully, and I can really feel the improvement in the suspension, and certainly the new rubber really helped. But yeah, I forgot to take off the dropped oil on the exhaust. It's not a problem. I washed it off. You'll see in a sec. And it never smoked again. It's too young to smoke, but we can fix it. And then you're going to be saying to me, well, why didn't you just edit that out? Go for a nut, clean it down, go for a road test, and then shoot that. Well, that would be dishonest. And that's not what I'm about. We are only human. I forgot to clean off the oil on the exhaust. Didn't cause any other damage. Nothing cosmetic. But it's kind of like a smoking gun at the moment. That's what happens when you leave oil on the exhaust. It starts burning. Anyway, I got this new foam cannon. And some new soap, so I want to see how it works. Just give the bike a little spritz first. Give the soap something to stick to. Change the little nozzle. And let's attach and see what it does. Slow it down. And we watch a black bike turn white. That is very satisfying. Who doesn't love washing? Good coverage, nice density. Just a quick little wash to get the dust off. Wasn't super dirty, but it wasn't happy, I could tell. The problem with black vehicles, as you know, is any kind of dirt on there makes them look 10 times worse. So we give her a wash. Just pride in your work, you know. It was a nice job. Suspension, tyres, easy. Good looking bike. And that's it. So another quick one for you guys. I do have a few projects in the works. I'm just finishing up a couple of videos, so stay tuned. But thanks for coming along with me today on this gorgeous little bike. Very underrated. Good things. Stay upright.